Alright guys, so I've got a review of a new San Martin watch here, kind of. So this is the new brand that's being released from San Martin. It's actually being released as a microbrand, so it won't be available on AliExpress. You're only going to be able to buy it on their official website, which I'll leave a link to down in the description. So this is the Jianghun JH0101, or what it's going to be more commonly known as the War Drum. And with this one, they're definitely going to be marching to the beat of their own drum, because it is a completely original design. It's not an homage of anything, which is going to be what this brand is all about. So this is their first watch. So with the branding, it's actually based on something. It's not just a made up name. So apparently Yang means artisan and Hun means soul. So artisan soul. So I do like that. The fact that they're embracing the Chinese roots and not trying to make out like some kind of Swiss brand or something. So seeing as this is a new brand, I'll quickly show you what else you'll get in the box. So in the top we've got this little cardboard wallet, which has got a few different bits in. Starting with this card, which has got a picture of the watch, and then on the back it's actually got some information explaining where the name comes from and the inspiration for this watch. Then we've got the warranty card, so you get a 30-day easy return if you're not happy with the watch, and then a 2-year warranty as well. Then the only other thing in there is the user manual. Then we've got this little branded tag, and in this little envelope, spring bar removal tool. But now let's get down to the watch. So it comes in this pretty nice watch roll, which has got the branding and the logo on the front. So this is quite nice. Nice and soft, so we'll protect the watch, and obviously you can use it for other watches as well. So we've got the poppers holding it shut and also holding that cushion in place as well. So nice and secure, and it's also got a good nice quality cushion in there as well. But I'll take it off this now and then we'll get down into the watch. And here it is. So I have to admit, when I first saw pictures of this, I wasn't really that keen, but the more I saw pictures, it actually started to grow on me, and that's just continued since I've got it in for review. Like I said in the intro, they're definitely marching to the beat of their own drum with this one. It's definitely not homaging anything else, it's completely original. So I know that's probably going to put a lot of people off straight away, but as I say, I think it's one that does grow on you the more you see it. So as we go through this review, hopefully you'll see why it's grown on me. But before we get into any more detail, first of all let's go over the dimensions. So we've got a diameter of 42mm, thickness of 13.5, lug width of 20, and then the all-important lug to lug is coming in at 49.7, so it's under that important 50mm for my 7-inch wrist. Then when it comes to the weight, on this pretty interesting leather strap that it comes with, that's coming in at 102 grams. So I've actually got another strap similar to this one, which I think I got for my San Martin tuner a while back. So let's take a closer look at it and talk about it in a bit more detail. So it's got the branding on there, and then it's mainly brushed, but we have got a polished chamfer detail on the edge. Then moving on to the strap, you can see it is pretty different, pretty unique. Got the nice stitch in there, and then we've also got that thicker section at the top. So it is quite firm, but it is also quite malleable. So it will bend and conform to your wrist, despite being pretty firm, as I say. And it's a really nice one as well. So the stitching's really well done. No issues with that at all. We've just got the one floating keeper, and I'll quickly show you the other side as well. So again, really nicely done. No branding on it at all. And depending on which dial colour you go for, you will get a matching colour strap as well. So you can get this green one, there's a black one, a brown one, and another one they say is purple. Now moving on to the case back. This is a really nice design, I think. Looks really good. I did actually initially think this was a dragon, but it is actually a tiger, and I just think it adds something to the watch. So as you've probably noticed as well, we haven't got a screw down case, we have actually got screws instead, but we have still got 200 meter water resistance on this, which is stated in the specs around the outside, as well as the fact that we've got the brand in there, the fact that it's automatic, stainless steel, and sapphire crystal, which we'll be testing in a bit. So now let's take a look at the side, and you can see the side profile on this, because it is pretty interesting. So the first thing that's probably going to jump out at you is the fact that we've got that really big onion style crown, which is pretty much as thick as the case. And then we've also got those really interesting lugs, which are actually drilled. I guess you could say they look like drumsticks to go with that drum. So the case is all one solid piece apart from that case back obviously. The bezel is actually integrated into the case too, which is a really interesting look. You can see those numbers sticking out, so they are actually the hour markers on the case. Again, it's just a really unique looking thing I think, which means it's obviously going to be more polarising than an homage, because you know what you're going to get with an homage. I know a lot of the newer San Martin pieces are coming out are actually more original, but they do kind of have inspiration from other brands and other designs still. Whereas, as I say, this one, and this brand I think in general, is going to be just completely unique, which is carried on with the dial as well. As you can see, there's a lot of interesting things going on here. Obviously, as I mentioned before, those hour markers on the bezel, that's pretty different. And we've also got little dividing sections in between them, which are actually polished, whereas the rest of it is brushed. Then moving on to the dial itself, so it's a textured dial, but it's also a sandwich one as well. So those markers are actually on the layer below, kind of inverted almost. So the top section is the middle part of that, and then the white bit around the outside is on the layer below. And then on the 12, 3, 6 and 9, we've got yellow on them instead of the green matching the dial. So just bringing in another little element of interest there. Is it just me, or the ones at the 3, 6 and 9 look kind of like lollipops? Because that's what I think when I see them. When it comes to the text on the dial, it's all printed, nothing applied. So you've got the logo at the top, then the branding just below that, and then down at the bottom, just above the 6, we've got automatic, 200 meters, 660 feet. The hands have got a brushed finish to them. They are quite flat though, and you could also say they're a little bit short, especially that hour hand. I would have liked to have seen that just touching the edge of those indices. It does actually touch the edge of that one up at the 12, with it being slightly longer than the rest, with it being that arrowhead almost. If they'd have made it the same length as the rest, that wouldn't have been an issue. But when it's not on that 12, it does kind of look a bit short. But other than that, I think it all looks pretty good. I do like the way they've done the minute tracking between those indices as well. I just think it's an interesting dial. But now let's check whether we have actually got sapphire crystal on this, as it says on the back, using the trusty diamond selector 2. And yep, we have got sapphire crystal, so that's good to see, and pretty much what you'd expect with it being a San Martin sub-brand. So we obviously can't check out the bezel action because we've got a fixed bezel on this. So now let's move on to the Lume and see if it lives up to San Martin's usual standards. We haven't got applied indices, but we have got a sandwich dial, so hopefully it should still be pretty good. So let's find out. So we've got a bit there already, but let's charge it up, give it a proper chance. And there we go. So you can see we've got a pretty unique Lume profile due to those interesting indices. So we've got C3 on this, and initially at least it's looking really impressive. So I don't know if this is going to come up on camera very well, but on the indices at 12, 3, 6 and 9, those yellow bits are actually yellow Lume as well. So that is a nice attention to detail. Do you like the way they've done that? And because we've got that domed crystal, we've actually got a little bit of reflection off the edge of those indices and distortion on the edge. So again, just adds a little bit of interest. We've even got Lume on the tip of that second hand as well. There's no patchiness at all. It's all pretty consistent. The hands are slightly brighter than the indices, but not by too much. But the question is, what's the longevity like? So let's speed this up now and find out. So there's not much of a change to begin with, but you will eventually see that the indices do fade slightly more than the hands. They're not quite as bright, but the yellow bits in those indices at the 12, 3, 6 and 9 are still pretty visible, which I was surprised by. Same with the second hand as well. So overall, pretty good Lume. Yeah, it would have been nice if the indices were as bright as the hands, but they're still visible, and that's the main thing that counts. So now, let's get onto the movement. And you're probably expecting me to say it's an NH35, but no, we've actually got the NH38, so that's the no date specific movement, which is good to see. Something we've been saying that San Martin need to do with their watches for quite a while, so it's good to see they've done it with this brand. So, if we unscrew the crown, obviously nice and grippy, no problems there with it being so big. Pop it out, just got the one position, so the second hand stops, we got hacking, and then we can just change the time. And then pop it back in, second hand re-engages. All works well, hand winding, no problems as you'd expect with an NH movement. And then again, real easy to screw back down with that large crown. So you're probably wondering now, how much is all this going to cost you? So it's currently on sale for $269, about £212 and about €250. So I think for everything you're getting, and for a completely unique design watch, that's pretty good. It's definitely not perfect. There are a few things that I would change, so we'll talk about that, the positives and the negatives, and show you what it's like on wrist now. And here it is on my 7-inch wrist. So I think it does look good, but the elephant in the room is those lugs. I think they're just a bit too long. Would have liked to have seen them shortened down and possibly even curved a bit more maybe. But I think the thing they were going for with that is drumsticks for the drum maybe. That's what I'm thinking. Let me know down in the comments what do you think it is. Or another way they could have gone, if they aren't going to shorten those lugs, maybe reduce the case size down to a 40, so then the lugs don't stick out as much on a 7-inch wrist, which is about average I think. Because you can see it's right on the limit of what I could probably wear, possibly a touch over. I also think this watch probably could have looked quite good if they'd had integrated lugs, kind of like on some other watches like a Puck or something, because it's got that kind of feel to it. I think that could have worked quite well. But let me know down in the comments, what do you think of this overall design with those lugs like that? When it comes to the strap, as I said, I quite like these straps, I think they're really nice looking. But one thing to bear in mind with this one is this is quite short. I'm on the 4th to last hole, and sometimes I'll wear it on the 3rd to last one. So if you have got larger wrists, they do actually do a longer strap than this one. So this is the standard, and they also do an extended. So, as I say, if you are going to pick one of these up, bear that in mind and just decide what you're going to need for your wrist size. So they're the two main things to bear in mind with this watch. But perhaps if I was being nitpicky, they could have had a bit more lume on those indices just to match it up with the hands. But that's pretty much it. I did think the crown was going to be an issue for me, but I think it actually suits the watch, and it doesn't dig into your wrist when you're wearing it, so it's not an issue. It's got a bit of a trench watch feel to it, I think, with that chunky case and the big crown. But there's still some really nice things going on with it. I do really like the dial, the sandwich dial with the texture, and then the way they've done those indices is pretty unique looking. I like that they've used the no date specific movement. I also really like that case back as well. We've got the 200 meter water resistance, got the drilled lugs, despite them being a little on the long side, that is handy. It's got pretty good lume on those indices and really good lume on the hands, so that's really usable, and it's got that interesting lume profile due to those indices being quite unique too. So overall, for a first effort for a new brand, albeit a brand that is a sub-brand of San Martin, I think it's pretty good. It's definitely got some interesting design elements going on. Perhaps one or two could use a little bit of tweaking. Mainly those lugs for me. Everything else, I actually quite like. And if you like it too, don't forget, link is down in the description if you want to pick one up. And obviously, try and get it during that sale period to get the best possible price. But that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.